Hi, my name is Jeffrey Jimenez.
I'm Alonso.
I'm Edward Romano.
I'm Jose Alvarado.
Brian Corona.
And today we're working on a 2011 BMW 335i with an N55 motor. Today we're going to be working on the spark plugs.
So before working on the engine, we have to wear proper equipment. We need gloves, we need eye protection, some glasses, and work boots.
All right, and for today's project, these are the basic hand tools, fender covers, and parts we're going to need to get today's project done. And for today's project, these are the basic hand tools you're going to need. Shrimp poppers, flathead screwdriver, Phillips, ratchet, extension, spark plug gapper, specialty spark plug, socket, plugs, and a torque wrench. You always want to torque down your fastener.
So for this job, we're also going to be needing to go on AllData or ShopKey Pro to look for some spark plug torque specifications. If you do not have access to any of these resources, you can also find torque specs on packaging sometimes. Or if not, Google is also a good source. So right here, research of spark plug. As you can see here, tiny specifications for our type of thread is 23 Newton meters.
So as you can see now, we started taking off all the beauty covers around the engine bay. BMW decided to put a lot of plastic that we had to remove. We were taking off parts of the air intake, parts of the top cowl, where the cabin filter is, and so we're just going to go ahead and remove all this just so we can get to the spark plugs. And as you can see here, we had a little trouble taking off that little piece, but no problem.
All right, after taking off all the covers, next we're going to disconnect the ignition coils. We'll pull this up. It's going to take out the wiring harnesses. You pull up, and then it comes off.
So now we're going to be removing the spark plug. We're using a 3/8 ratchet with an extension with the BMW specific spark plug socket.
So this is the old spark plug. We're looking for any the condition of the engine. So basically, we look for carbon deposits. If you see any black like stuff around the spark plugs, that means that there's a bunch of carbon deposits. Like in this one, for example, you can see it's like really black, really dark, which means that the engine is running rich. You're using a lot of fuel. In this case, this one doesn't look as bad, but it's still time to replace it. You also want to look for oil. If oil is leaking through the spark plugs, it looks okay, it looks fine, but we still want to replace it. This is the newest spark plug, which is an OEM spark plug. These come pre-gapped, which is great. You don't have to measure it or anything. And yeah, this is what we're going to put back in the engine.
Now we're gonna put in a new spark plug. You want to start by tightening it by hand and make sure not to use any anti-seize unless it's manufacturer specific.
And as you can see here, Jeff is also starting to tighten it. We're going to go ahead and do it hand tight, and then we're going to get it ready for the torque wrench.
Make sure to look for the correct torque specifications. If you under torque the spark plugs, it could lead to a misfire.
We are now going to proceed by torquing down the spark plug. We looked up the torque specifications. Manufacturer recommends 23 Newton meters. We are going to use this torque wrench to achieve that by making sure we don't over torque or under torque.
So now we're going to reinstall the coil back into the cylinder. Now all we have to do is put it back in, make sure it sits completely flush, and we are going to reconnect the wiring harness to the coil. And as you can see, this connection is being plugged in, and all you have to do is snap the little connection back down and it'll be connected. So now you're going to repeat these steps for cylinders 2 through 6. This is an inline 6 engine, so you want to repeat the steps. Always make sure that you're threading the spark plugs in by hand first, and then hitting it with the wrench for a little bit until it stops nice and snug, and then always make sure you torque them down to spec. Another good rule of thumb is to make sure that you put the coils back into the cylinder that you took them out of. There's not really necessarily a harm in putting them in the wrong areas. It's just good note for when you get a misfire and it could possibly be the coil.
After completing the process for the spark plugs, you're going to want to put back the beauty covers, harness, strut bar, and all the other accessories that were disconnected to help during this installation. From here, make sure you reinsert filters, put back clips. You don't want to be too rough because you can damage these clips.
And that's how you change the spark plugs on a 2011 BMW 335i. As you can see, we also started it up and we made sure it was running right, and we're all good to go.